Good morning. I hope everybody slept well. I actually slept pretty good last night, I think. I will admit I got up and got a snack though. But it was Oreo cookies, so it was okay. So, sitting here, letting our shoulders relax. Listening to the cards and taking that breath. Seeing our girl out the door to make sure she gets to school okay. I do like actually getting up a little bit early now. Early enough to like have a cup of coffee. I tell you what, taking this extra time in the morning really has just changed the day. Making myself sit down, take a moment. It's also probably for the first 20 minutes then, since I'm getting ready. It's also brought that into focus and just not all that rushing around that I used to do. And so I can highly recommend this. So, let's see what the universe has for us today. See if there's any lessons or anything we can be forewarned of or watch out for. Any angers or resentments we can review this morning before somebody ticks us off. And if somebody does, maybe we can react differently. It's part of the whole point is just to try and add a little serenity to our lives. We don't always have to react the way we used to. Or, you know, what's most natural for me is to react first and then maybe apologize later. Not take offense so quickly. Because that's when I react. If I'm comfortable in my own skin, I'm not going to react. I'm not going to take offense. I'm able to say, well, that's an interesting opinion. We know how that works, right? But maybe we can try that, try and learn something. So, okay. I am going to do my 3 stacks. My 3 threads going out to the universe. And then, it's interesting because when I do readings online for somebody, I just explain how these are 3 threads and that they get to determine which thread we pull, because each one of these is a different conversation that we will carry throughout the rest of the day. And if you believe in the butterfly effect, we're going to have one discussion that'll be different than this discussion or this discussion. In the multiverse, we would actually be having 3 different discussions and go in 3 different ways. So, today is, what, Thursday? Wow. Okay. So, let's see what's at the bottom here. Let's see what we're going to carry through for the next couple of days. And I am going to do my 3-in-1. And I will flip the cards over one at a time to read them like a book. And I'm just going to ramble as I flip each card over. Because I use my intuition. So as I'm going through, I'll just kind of describe the cards and see where the story takes us. And then probably on the last page of the book, we find out the butler did it. And everything I said beforehand means nothing. And we get this revelation. So let's see how this is going to work out today. Oh, okay. So here we're starting off where we're looking at anxieties, things that are weighing on our shoulders. Some people call this the nightmare card, but it's about all those things that just mentally bouncing around in our head. And the King of Cups. So court cards can be people. Oh, and good morning, Easy Dwint. Good morning. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right. So court cards can be people. It could be ourselves. It could be places, things. So, but this king happens to be upside down looking at the 9. And the King of Cups, that is somebody who, when he's upright, this is somebody who's in charge, but they also have emotion. So this is somebody who can be passionate about something. They will make sure something gets done and they'll do it with passion. But when it's upside down, this is somebody who's not real. This is somebody who can anger easily, somebody who's not really in control of their passions. So combining that with a nightmare card, it's just about an emotional turmoil going on. Something that's anxieties that are keeping us awake. So we have the mental anxieties, and here we have the emotional anxieties and ties. So and we have the 7. So this is one of those things about struggling to keep our heads above water. Because, I mean, even this guy here, if you look at this, the 7 of Wands. We have somebody in a defensive position. He's, keeping things straight, but he's got this challenge that he's going on. He's trying to, make this progress. And it's about the progress and potentials, but it's not easy. So this really is about just those times where we just are struggling to keep our heads above the water. Emotionally, mentally, things around us are just coming at us. So let's flip over the advice card and see where it's going. And good morning also to you, Joyful Moon. So I'm kind of curious to see where we're going to go next here. Oh, and good morning, Carla, also. So this is going to be interesting because we see all this struggling, all that mental anguish, all that. This really is a good example. I should take a picture of it, of what anxiety is. The advice card is, it's always the 6. This card pops up all the time. But normally it's reversed because, at least that's the pattern that I've noticed. Good morning, Twixig Tarot. But the 6s have been popping up. The 6 of Swords had been popping up as reverse. So this is kind of an obvious thing. So let's break it down a little bit. So here we have, again, the anxiety, the mental anxiety that goes with the pressure, that thing that won't let us sleep. And here's how we react to it with the emotional anger and the emotional turmoil. And it's one of those things where I can't control myself. If I get enough stress and strain, I am going to be on the defensive with everybody. And it really is interesting because it seems like the universe is saying the obvious. It's like, so the 6 of Swords, 6s are about finding that harmony, finding that improvement, finding yourself mentally. And Pamela Coleman Smith even has, on one side we see the turmoil, on the other side we see the smooth waters, and we see this could be like the family. We could be any 3 of these. We could be the person that's finally pushing us through. We could be the parent here who is sitting here who needs to be guided. Or this could be us, that emotional child that needs to be just taken care of. So what this is saying here then is that we really need to take a look at where we're going for the rest of this week, for today, at the anxieties that just is what is wearing us down. What is coming up that might be wearing us down? Where are we going? This is a reflection of the cards that we looked at earlier this week, where it was asking us to look at what's going on today, because it's going to affect how we feel tomorrow. Either we take care of the stuff that's piling up now, or we clean, or as I put before, we take care of, we look at it now, or else we just have to clean up the mess later. And this is about not doing that. So this is an extension of the earlier readings from this week. What is it maybe that we're not looking at that's keeping us awake? The turmoils is, this week it was also about, maybe it could have been health or home. It was dealing with coins, if I remember correctly. But things pile up. And we may not even realize it sometimes because we're just in such a defensive stance. This is us without looking underneath, right? This is what's underneath us, but we are so busy fighting these battles, we don't even realize the anxiety. We don't even realize the emotional turmoil that we're in, because we hide it through all our piling up of driving forward, getting things done, being defensive. If only. This guy reminds me of the old if only. If only things went my way. If only you would do what I said. If only I could get up earlier in the morning. If only. So I'm just going to call this guy If Only. If only things would work out the way I want them, then I wouldn't be feeling these. So now he gets to be angry. He gets to be self-righteous. He gets to beat people down instead of dealing with what's going on here. And what happens is that If Only needs to just put that down, all those things that's going on, take that pole, climb in the boat. And as Twix Tarot had just said, could we need to help our inner child through their fear so that we don't lash out emotionally? That's exact. That's an analogy that works right here. So we need to brush our hair. We need to get up early enough to where we put on the right shoes, because here's one shoe and here's the other one. But obviously we had a rough night, and with emotional turmoils, we're just making the obvious mistakes. And then we get more angry and defensive because it just builds up and builds up from the last readings that we were having to where it's everybody else's fault. And so I absolutely understand what Twix is saying about the inner child. And I don't go into this a whole lot, Twix, but one of those things is that I might have gone through therapy myself. And that I just remember learning that if I ever saw somebody treating a child, if I ever saw somebody treating a child the way that I treated myself, I would have them locked up. I would be furious. Nobody should ever treat a child that way. And that's part of the analogy, or the part of that thing of looking at an inner child, because how has that inner child been taught? How do we treat ourselves? How do we nurture and parent that inner child thing? So here's, using her analogy, is that here we are, and it's like we've just stuffed everything down. All this emotional turmoil, aren't we all these great adults, right? But if we look at it, we could see that this is all of our anxieties See, that child is carrying all of our anxieties. See how they're dressed the same? And this one's carrying all that emotional insecurity and all that turmoil that goes with that. And we need to recognize it. We need to come off this rock. We need to take a breath and put on the correct shoes. We need to make that decision. It's like, you know what? I should not treat myself that way. And and it may, sixes are about finding that harmony and improvement. So maybe it's one of those things where I'm going to go, I've been doing this for so long by myself. It's like, I have people that I can trust it over here. I have somebody that I can talk to over here. I have somebody, maybe I need to take these over here to someplace safe so I can, instead of acting out and disturbing all these, it's like maybe I need a safe place to put my emotions and things like that so that I can handle things like just putting on damn shoes without feeling anxious. So I'm going to just follow this up from the other readings this week of why, what is it that we just can't let go of things sometimes? So, I'm just going to kind of leave it at that so we can think about it today. But why can't sometimes we just let it go? We had advice all week about, things coming up. I mean, the universe has been trying to say something, right? And still, we get so frantic at work, we don't even realize we're putting on two different shoes. And then when we realize it, we just lash out and get angry. Efownlys and blame everything but ourselves, right? So, let's figure out why. Instead of this or this. Let's switch these around. Because that is so much more peaceful. And with that, I would like to thank you all again very much. This has given me a lot to think about today. And this week, I think it's this is kind of putting things into perspective, at least for some things that I could look at. And I'm going to be here again tomorrow at 7:15 to see what the universe has to say for the Friday. And with that, I hope you have an amazing day. Hope you have an amazing week and all that other wonderful stuff. And it's not all, this is actually a very positive thing because it does show that there are options. It shows that there are clear skies. It shows that we can move past stuff. It's just not easy. So, thank you all again, and I will talk to you tomorrow.